Nico, would you pay him or let him walk? Right now, 55% say no, let him walk. 48% say yes, that he should get paid. Your thoughts, Caleb? You have a son now. It makes things a little bit different when you start to put him in this position.
I think you have to pay him. I think the thing that's making it hard for Tennessee fans right now, and I get it, is you got a quarterback that they really believe in, and George MacIntyre waiting in the wings, who is willing to play for less than his market value because he loves Tennessee. Guys, that is a what is it they call it, a canary in the coal mine? That's not going to be the way things are.
What's a canary in the coal mine? I've never heard that before.
I think that's just a phrase for something that's very rare, an anomaly.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's maybe I used that wrong, actually. So throw that out. I think that actually just means potential danger. So throw that out. Totally different. I used the wrong analogy. I apologize. But yeah, just something that really stands out. George MacIntyre is an anomaly. That's not going to be par for the course for Tennessee going forward with quarterbacks. You're just going to have to get used to the fact that you're going to have to pay market value to quarterbacks to a certain degree. And you let Nico walk. How do you recruit another quarterback after that? I mean, what Tennessee initially paid Nico up front was a splash to get him. But all of a sudden now, Dave, quarterbacks are making more than that. And so I just think you have to pay him and you have to renegotiate. And just this is the age of NIL until there's guardrails. You're going to have to renegotiate all the time.
Those guardrails are supposed to come pretty much any time. I'm hearing by August. I'll remind you, we broadcast from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. TedRussellFord.net, TedRussellLincoln.net, East Tennessee's largest volume dealer. You will find the vehicle you absolutely need, whether it's used or new, at Ted Russell Ford or Ted Russell Lincoln on Parkside Drive and Kingston Pike. TedRussellFord.net, TedRussellLincoln.net. The buying process is unbelievable. You'll absolutely love it. More Nico in spring game. As we remind you, we broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location.
Ginger Power, the Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
Will West will join us from the Sports Animal a little bit later. He's got some insight into the Nico thing. Pretty much sits with this, and that is he has all the leverage. Does he not? I Bleed Orange says, let Nico walk. At some point, somebody's going to have to take a stand against an NIL demand. I don't know if that's Tennessee's place to do that. You mentioned MacIntyre. I think Jake Merklinger would be the guy who would immediately step up. Now, long term, you may be right, but are they really willing to make that move with a very important season coming up? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think they can make that move. You can't do that with George MacIntyre this year. He's not going to be ready. I mean, the only reason they might make the move is that buys Josh Heupel a little more goodwill for a couple of years, because no one's going to be upset if he doesn't go make the playoff this year with a true freshman quarterback.
Couple of notes from our message board. Steve says, are we seriously going to let a 5-star quarterback walk because of money? I don't think so. Dylan says, we are a playoff team, for God's sake. I guess at some point you have to ask yourself, is Nico all ball? And I don't say that. I always thought it was funny, like when, let's say the the Berries, for instance. The Berries came to Tennessee, and because their dad played, they got a discount, all this stuff. So people would say, why don't you just pay for your own scholarship? Well, no, because that's silly. So I don't think that Nico should bend over backwards just because he loves Tennessee. He still deserves to get paid. This is still a business. But does this latest development make you question his loyalty to the university, Caleb?
I mean, maybe, but the thing that no, it doesn't make me question whether or not his loyalty is where it needs to be. Guess what, guys? People negotiate contracts. That doesn't mean they're not loyal. Okay, they're loyal. They may be loyal after they get paid. But the underrated part of that Pete Nako's report is that Nico's very happy at Tennessee.
Okay, my question is: he loyal enough? Is it incumbent upon Nico? Let's say this has been released or leaked by an agent. Do you call that agent and say, whoa, cool your jets, you've got me in a bad situation here? Or do you have your dad do it?
I mean, I think you is Nico loyal enough? Do you call your agent? I mean, maybe you would probably have your dad do it. His dad's willing to say whatever he wants to say on this. So, I mean, maybe you have your dad do it, but yeah, I think Nico. Let me put this out here, guys. And Dave, you told me this yesterday, or maybe not yesterday, like last week. You said 50% of the guys playing college football are playing it as a means to an end, right?
Probably, yes.
Okay, that doesn't mean they're not loyal to the team they're playing for, and they're not going to play hard when they're on the field. So, I mean, where are we with this loyalty thing? Is what I'm asking. I mean, let's just be honest. Everybody loves Peyton Manning. You and I both know Peyton Manning chose Tennessee as a means to an end. He was thinking about the NFL the whole time.
Yeah, but he ended up falling in love with the university. I don't think there's any question about that.
That's what happens in the process. But Fred White told us a story where Peyton Manning worked on a play in practice every day that he never actually threw in a game, and it turned out he was working on that play so he'd be ready for it in the NFL.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any question that he fell in love with the university. With Nico going back to California, taking Mike Matthews, I mean, it crept in my mind, is he taking him back there to take a look at Southern California? I mean, I don't know. And it makes me wonder that he's not a bigger part of Tennessee's on-campus off-season workouts, because they were supposed to be working out with their teammates during that time. And he's back in Cali. Again, players get time off, and I've got no problem with that. But you also have to be cognizant of how those things are perceived. And they're perceived, whether it's true or not, and I don't think it's true, that he's a bit of a diva, and that ultimately he's not loyal to anybody but a paycheck. That's the way this is being perceived, fair or not. By the way, Timothy with the super chat says, players have contracts, and you should have parameters. See, that's part of the problem, Caleb, is there are no parameters right now.
No, there aren't. I mean, that's exact. Guys, that's the issue, but this is what we said was good. You know who fought for no parameters? Tennessee. Tennessee openly fought for there to be no parameters. So,
well, and remember this too. You can say, oh, it should all be in the contract. But if somebody comes to my son right now and says, here's the contract, you're only going to get paid $2 million, and that's a hard cap, I'm going to say stick it, because I think that things could change in the coming years. You've got DJ Lagway making $2.5 million, and he hasn't done anything at Florida.
Right. We've almost reached the Deshaun Watson record contract moment of the NFL, haven't we, for college football? I mean,
I don't know who's going to do that, but clearly it wasn't Nico who got $2 million a year. We were all astonished that he got $2 million a year. Everybody's flown right by that number. What is the ultimate price right now for a starting quarterback that's playoff caliber in the SEC? It's pushing $4 million.
Yeah. The question becomes then, this is where you get to X's and O's, because we know receivers are actually valuable in Heupel's system. What's the system, Dave, that is the most quarterback dependent? And what I mean by that is you can just put guys everywhere else if you have the right quarterback, and you don't need anything else. Is there a coach, do you think Lane Kiffin's system could do that?
Well, the only one I can think of would be Steve Spurrier's system, and it's not to it's not to downgrade his talent that he had at the skill position. He had skill position players, but I do think a bunch of dudes could run around there and have success.
Yeah, but he had a bunch of dudes at quarterback too. So it's, I mean,
Right, but I don't think that Danny Werfel steps into most quarterback situations and is a star. Do you?
no, I'm not talking about. No, I'm saying the reverse. I'm saying what system is dependent on if the quarterback is elite, you can just have a bunch of average dudes at skill positions everywhere else as long as the quarterback is the right guy.
Oh, so you're kind of going the opposite direction.
Yeah, in college, there's a few of those in the NFL, but
I mean, to me, those are pretty extraordinary. Like the Mike Vicks of the world, the Johnny Manziels of the world, like the Cam Newtons of the world. I don't think there's a lot of
Gus
those.
Malzahn. That's the perfect guy. If Gus Malzahn's system, though, if you have the right quarterback, you don't really need anybody else, do you?
Yeah, I could see that. I also wonder this too, because what happens when the NFL plays in Indianapolis? They always refer to Lucas Oil Field as the stadium that Peyton built, right?
Yes.
Because of the success he had. Did Tennessee get above their skis a little bit when they're talking about this Neyland Entertainment Complex? Did they then just give more fuel to the fire of Nico that says, I want more money, I want more money? You talk about how great things are going, and they are going well, but there's no banner being hung yet. There's no rings being divvied out. So they haven't gone exquisite to this point. I just think that Tennessee got a little ahead of itself. They have an AD who likes to market his product, and I wonder if they're a little too overexposed, and that's led to some players like oh my gosh, who's the defensive back after McCoy got hurt?
Ricky Gibson.
Yeah, Ricky Gibson, Mike Matthews, Nico. I mean, I don't think that everybody's.
So what you're saying is, let's just put it out there. It's kind of almost like the way unions negotiate in professional sports. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember when the NBA had their contract in 2011, they re-upped it. Then they signed, what was it, a $2 billion deal with ESPN, Dave? They bragged about that. They were like, look at this deal we got with ESPN. We're going to be making a lot of money. And here comes the union saying, if you sign that deal with ESPN, you better pay us next round of negotiations. We're going to demand a lot more money in this. Like, you know, so it's kind of one of those, it's chicken or the egg. I mean, this is how basically, if you want to think about it, in the private sector, like publicly traded companies work, they want to brag about their revenue, right? Because that's what that helps them in the stock market with shareholders. But the minute they do that, if they got a unionized workforce, man, that workforce is going to come and say, oh, you're bragging about this amount of money you're making, so we are going to renegotiate here.
Yeah, I think that's part of what's going on. And I don't know that you're not supposed to do it, but I don't know that the Neyland Entertainment Complex helps you when you're negotiating with players. As a matter of fact, I think it hurts you.
I just think it craps all over a very beautiful site. I think there is
We know you think that, but I mean, as it pertains to the players, you don't think that in some sense you're rubbing their nose in it that, hey, we're building this huge complex that you're not going to get any money off of, but your success led to it.
Oh, I'm sure they feel that. I'm sure they absolutely feel that way. No doubt about it.